The Washington Post, Sue, is reporting that the reading section, the scores for the reading section of the SAT have now hit 40-year lows. The College Board says that the clear majority, 57% of those undergoing the tests, did not even score enough to predict that they would succeed in college. As the networks of NBC focus on education here in the United States, we're also learning this hour that Americans owe more on their student loans than they do on their credit cards. And the default rate on those student loans is more than 4 times the default rate on mortgages. So the question now is it another bubble that is about to burst? Senior correspondent Scott Cohn is reporting from Washington today on some very startling statistics. Scotty.
And some new statistics, Simon, just in. These new figures come from FICO. They're the people that figure credit scores for consumer credit bureaus. They analyzed a large sample of credit reports, millions of them nationwide. And here is what they found. Since 2005, the percentage of U.S. consumers with multiple open student loans on their credit report has nearly doubled. Now almost 12% of us are making payments on at least 2 student loans. The average amount of that debt up more than 50% to more than $26,000 on average, a much higher pace of growth than the growth of credit like credit cards and mortgages, other types of debt. And the percentage of consumers with 6 figures in college debt has more than tripled since 2005. 1.4 million people now with more than $100,000 in student loans. This, of course, is scary stuff for college students who face repaying their loans in a tough job market just when they're trying to establish credit.
I'm definitely very afraid that it's going to affect my credit score later on. I'm currently trying to pay it off, but that's hard to do when you have other bills to pay.
The massive student loans that I have could affect my credit rating when purchasing a house or looking for a job in the future.
But there is a glimmer of good news here, according to the folks at FICA, because while, as you heard, the national default rate on student loans is huge, nearly 9% now, the credit scores of people with student loans have held steady. Nonetheless, at FICO and elsewhere, they're watching these numbers closely.
What FICO is concerned about and what we pay attention to is how are students, new graduates, handling that debt? And we'll always be watching that to see if it becomes a predictor of future behavior.
Student loans are already an important factor in credit ratings because often it's the only debt a student has. The most important thing, according to the experts at Vantage Score, is not the amount of debt, but paying it on time.
If they're paying on time, boy, they can get a credit score very fast. So that's the positive side, and of course the negative side is if they're not paying, they'll get a score that won't be so good.
The way it works is that student loans are considered along with other installment debts separate from credit card debt, and so far, as you heard, they're not seeing a big increase in people having trouble making payments on their other loans because of their student loans, but all of the experts right now are watching that very closely. Sue?
And it's indeed they should. Scott, thank you very much.